Well, listen, if you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and 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 on.
Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate.
Welcome to Stoic Skills. Got nothing valuable to say? What do? You just keep talking and talking and talking. It's an endless flood of words, like a broken faucet that won't shut up.
She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though. It's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
That's exactly the problem with the women on The View. They're completely out of touch with the majority of Americans, yet they sit there day after day, spewing opinions like they're gospel truth. But here's the kicker. Voters aren't buying it. The disconnect is staggering. If they want real insight, they should try tuning into Imam media instead of pushing their tired narratives. Now, Whoopi Goldberg has ruled The View for years, perched at the top like a queen on her throne. She cuts off guests, steamrolls over anyone who dares to challenge her, and dishes out her opinions like they're written in stone. She's the undisputed leader of daytime TV debates, or so she thought. Because in one shocking moment, that iron grip slipped.
Ma'am, I'm going to stop this interview if you continue to attack my colleagues. I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay,
now,
I'm sorry, guys. We're going to come back out to the panel. Karoline, thank you very much for your time.
That was so good.
And the whole world saw it. And the person responsible? Karoline. Whoopi, confident as ever, leaned back in her chair, fully expecting to run the show like always. She was in her element, ready to dictate yet another one-sided conversation. Then came the topic that The View treats like a sacred text: wokeness, the very concept they champion with religious devotion. If you question it, you're an enemy. If you embrace it, you're enlightened. It's their foundation, their entire personality, their unshakable truth. So when the discussion turned in that direction, Whoopi saw her moment. With that signature smirk, the one that screams "I know best," she locked eyes with Karoline and dropped a line she thought would shut her down completely. Without wokeness, you wouldn't even have this job. But just like that, the atmosphere in the room shifted. Instantly, the audience tensed up. The air grew thick. Even Joy Behar, the queen of snark, the woman who has spent decades turning conservative voices into punchlines, suddenly looked uneasy in her seat. Whoopi thought she had delivered a mic drop moment. Oh, but she had no idea what was coming next. What Whoopi said next was exactly what you'd expect: predictable and irritating. After all these years as a host.
In a statement afterwards, this young lady claimed her, quote, on-air snub proves that you-know-who will not be treated fairly in the upcoming debate. Now, do you think this is going to make people doubt whether CNN can stay objective, or is this more the same of, everybody's against me, it's all rigged, I tell you? Is everything rigged?
No, it's their MO. That's what they do. Rachel Maddow said last week, she's like, if the election is lost, it was rigged. If there's a debate, then the moderators are probably biased and they're prejudiced against.
You'd think she'd have a sharper wit, a fresher approach. But nope. Here we are again, watching her roll out the same tired lines like a script she's rehearsed 1,000 times before. The atmosphere was thick with tension. Everyone braced themselves. This wasn't just another heated exchange. Whoopi wasn't throwing out a casual jab or engaging in playful banter. No, this was something deeper. This was Whoopi Goldberg taking a direct shot at Karoline's entire career, her intelligence, her work ethic, her achievements. She dismissed everything Karoline had worked for, reducing it to nothing more than a byproduct of the very ideology she opposed. It wasn't just a disagreement, it was condescending, belittling, and designed to cut deep. Yet, despite the blatant insult, the audience clapped on cue, like they were programmed to respond. Some even chuckled, playing along as if the moment wasn't as harsh as it truly was. But there was something in the air, a subtle unease that lingered beneath the forced laughter. A quiet hesitation, as if they knew Whoopi had crossed.
Most divisive and disgusting speech that any president, certainly in my lifetime, has ever given. He essentially waged war on half of the country by saying that we are all a threat to democracy because we believe in putting America first. It's not radical to want to put your country and your own people first. It's not radical to want to have a strong border, a strong military, and to unleash the might of your own economy, not economies around the world.
Crossed the line but weren't sure if they could admit it. The moment hung there, charged and unresolved. But Karoline? She didn't flinch. She didn't waver. Didn't stumble. Didn't scramble for a defense. She didn't need to. She did something far more powerful. She smiled. Slow, deliberate, knowing. A smile that wasn't smug or overconfident but carried a message loud and clear. Oh, you just made a big mistake. It wasn't the grin of someone scrambling to defend themselves. It was the expression of a person who knew they had every fact, every receipt, and every ounce of composure needed to flip the entire situation on its head. And that's exactly what she did. The audience had never seen anything like it before. This wasn't some flustered guest struggling to keep up or backing down under the pressure of daytime TV theatrics. This was a masterclass in staying cool under fire. And trust me, if you're loving this legendary takedown, make sure to like and subscribe, because we're about to dig even deeper into.
You know, we have seen cultural Marxism trickling its way through every institution in this country. The public school system, the higher education university system, Hollywood, big tech, the corrupt mainstream media that I fought against in President Trump's White House are indoctrinating my generation of Americans into hating our country, hating one another based on race and gender and all of this other BS.
This unforgettable moment. Karoline didn't just argue. She came armed with facts, hard, cold numbers that weren't up for debate. There was no snarky comeback, no dismissive laugh that could erase what she was about to lay down. She pulled out government spending reports, exposing exactly where taxpayer dollars were going. And let's just say, it was beyond outrageous. She listed them off, one by one, each revelation more jaw-dropping than the last. Gender studies programs in Guatemala, funded by U.S. tax dollars. Sesame Street adaptations designed to push American social activism abroad. Grants for inclusivity initiatives that seemed more like political experiments than real social programs. It was all right there, in black and white. And she wasn't just rattling off information. She was connecting the dots, painting a picture so crystal clear that it was impossible to ignore. This wasn't just about cultural shifts or changing values. Karoline revealed the play.
If you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and 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 on.
Right.
That's what you hear.
Yeah.
When they don't have anything to hold you with, nothing to make you think about what they have.
Book, showing exactly how wokeness had evolved from a grassroots social movement into a full-blown political weapon. A tool used not to uplift but to silence, control, and punish anyone who dared to question it. And Whoopi, she wasn't laughing anymore. She's incredibly articulate, isn't she? It's almost shocking, someone this sharp, this well-prepared, standing her ground with pure confidence. And yet, instead of showing even an ounce of support for another woman, the hosts on The View chose to mock her. That speaks volumes. It reveals everything about their true agenda. Let's see how this plays out, because something tells me Karoline's about to drop even more undeniable truth that won't be so easy to brush off. The woman who had built her entire career on dominating conversations, cutting off conservative voices, and steamrolling through uncomfortable topics, was suddenly on the defensive. Whoopi shifted in her seat. The usual smirk? Gone. Her hands moved.
They talk at you, not to you, and that's what she was doing, and she was doing it, and it's not new.
No.
But everybody's hip to you all now.
Yeah.
And we are anticipating that you are not prepared. Because you keep saying you going and you preparing when you're on the
moved restlessly, fingers twitching, like she was searching for something, anything to hold on to. She was used to owning the conversation, to guests fumbling their words, tripping over their responses, struggling to keep up with her rapid-fire comebacks. That was her domain, her playground. But this time, The tables had turned. And she knew it. For once, Whoopi Goldberg was stuck. No amount of sarcastic quips, dismissive eye rolls, or dramatic sighs could save her now. No matter how badly she wanted to regain control, to throw out one of her signature zingers and flip the narrative back in her favor, she couldn't. Because Karoline wasn't giving her the chance. Every attempt to interject was met with undeniable, unshakable facts. And Whoopi had nowhere to go. In that moment, something became painfully clear to everyone watching. Whoopi Goldberg
that you saw live on this program yesterday. Joy Behar stirring the pot of controversy after saying this about Karoline.
She's probably been put in there because according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
Do you want to take this?
No, you cannot be attractive and smart. I will try to give Joy the benefit, and oh, thank you. I try to give Joy the benefit of the doubt that she didn't see that briefing, because if you saw that yesterday on numerous topics, no big binder, I think she might have had a different impression of this young woman.
You would have to give her the benefit of the doubt that she did absolutely no research or reading about anything dealing with Karoline Leavitt before she made that remark. Because Karoline Leavitt she went to St. Anselm College, she worked for WMUR. She lost by 8 or 9 points, but she still put on a good campaign. Then she was the press secretary for the Trump campaign, going on TV literally every day.
Well, heavily pregnant and a new mom.
Pregnant. Yeah, she's a new mother. And then she goes out yesterday and gives and this, again, this is speaking very objectively, because I've watched every press secretary since going back to Marlon Fitzwater. Yeah, I'm that old.
I would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do a little homework. Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here. Oh, yeah. Let me explain something to you. Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job. Yeah. Because women were not invited to that table. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason. Because black people couldn't get into colleges. Because women could not get into the colleges they wanted to go to. This is all women. Yeah. See, this is not black, Asian women. This is all women. Women were not invited to this party.
The queen of shutting down debate had backed herself into a corner. And this time, there was no easy way out. She opened her mouth, then shut it. Opened it again, hesitated. Still nothing. The words just wouldn't come. And the audience, usually so quick to jump to her defense, to erupt into applause at every clever jab, frozen. Silence filled the studio, thick and uncomfortable.